How's it going, Webheads? My name is Ryan Walsh. We're looking at a movie that we haven't talked about for a little bit, Spider-Man Far From Home. I personally think that the Sinister Six need to be in this movie, and I'm going to explain exactly why. Now, I'm not really saying that the Sinister Six need to be in Spider-Man Far From Home like they were in the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 game. I don't want the entire team being the villain of the movie or anything like that, but I do want them to be at least teased, probably towards the end of the movie, probably just showing that they are assembling for that third Spider-Man movie, because it's pretty obvious that Sony and Marvel are really trying to build to the Sinister Six. Everybody knows they're doing this, and I have a feeling they're not really going to be building to like the Green Goblin or Venom or any other villains as of right now. They just want to make that third Spider-Man movie about the Sinister Six and really taking all the villains from both movies and just putting them into one team to take on Spider-Man. But I really want to find evidence within these movies that this could really be happening, that we could see the Sinister Six show up as maybe an ending or a post-credit scene, really building up to Spider-Man 3. And obviously for the Spider-Man Homecoming movie, there definitely was plenty of villains within that movie. But let's really look into Spider-Man Far From Home and see if we can find any villains that are probably going to be leading towards the Sinister Six. And obviously right off the bat, when we look at Jake Gyllenhaal and who he's playing within the movie, the main villain Mysterio, it's pretty obvious that Mysterio has been in the Sinister Six in different variations of the team, but obviously the original team, he's always been a part of it. He's probably one of the biggest standouts for the team because he's definitely like one of the weirder characters. He's the one with the big fishbowl head. So obviously he's a big key part of the team, and it makes sense because usually the characters that are within the Sinister Six, they're not the huge powerhouses by themselves. They're usually the smaller criminal villains that are really just not like Venom. They're not like huge villains. They're just the smaller ones. So they make up the Sinister Six, so they actually pose a threat to Spider-Man. But not only Mysterio is going to be showing up in Spider-Man Far From Home as a villain, there's going to be tons of villains, it looks like. I mean, if we really look back at the Instagram post that Tom Holland put on his Instagram, and it really just shows that he's making fun of himself and saying that basically he always does his own stunts, and then you see his stunt guy in the background, and then he gets hit by a giant wave.
And for the record, I do all my own stunts. All of my own stunts. I never have a stunt double, it's always me. Tom Cruise does a similar thing, I'm the same. I always do my own stunts. 3, 2, 1, go! Greg? Where'd he go?
Everyone online really speculating that this wave is indicating that Hydro Man is going to be making an appearance in Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, this really could just be Mysterio and maybe Peter Parker fighting somewhere, and Peter Parker happens to be on a bridge and Mysterio just hits him with a wave or something like that. Also, Tom Holland could be just spoiling the Spider-Man Far From Home movie because he's known to be doing that, so that's extremely likely as well. But let's really just put that aside and say Hydro Man's going to be within the movie. If Hydro Man is going to be one of the main villains, that just shows you that already we have 2 villains within Spider-Man Far From Home that are going to be battling Peter Parker and already have powers. And even with Hydro Man showing up in the movie, he's not even the only villain that's rumored to show up for Spider-Man Far From Home. There's still one more villain that's supposed to show up within the movie. And people are really thinking that the Chameleon is going to be showing up in Spider-Man Far From Home. Mainly because the actor Newman Akar is cast as a secret villain within the movie, and he's been cast as a villain that's just going by Dimitri. And if you guys are huge Spider-Man fans, you guys probably know that Dimitri is the first name of the Chameleon. So this is why a lot of people are speculating that the Chameleon is going to be playing a role within the movie. Maybe like a small role like Shocker within Spider-Man Homecoming, but it has been said that he's going to be playing a villainous role. So it's pretty obvious just saying that he's going to be the Chameleon within the movie. And now if we really look at all the villains that are supposed to be in Spider-Man Far From Home as of right now, that's 3 right there. We got Mysterio, Hydro Man, and Chameleon. So if we have 3 villains right there, that means we can just line it up with the other 3 villains that are in Spider-Man Homecoming. And the other 3 villains are going to be obviously Vulture, Scorpion, and Shocker. But all of this may not pan out, so we have to look a little bit deeper into this and see if really this is going to be accurate and they are really setting this up for the Sinister 16. But if we look back in Spider-Man Homecoming and we really look at that end credit scene that happened where the Vulture and Scorpion are talking about teaming up on Spider-Man, how Scorpion, Mac Gargan, knows a bunch of people that want to take out Spider-Man.
I've got some boys on the outside who would love to meet him. You know, take a picture, slice his throat, put his head in the dryer.
And I have a theory on this end credit scene. Mac Gargan says that he knows a bunch of people that want to take out Spider-Man. Now, if we really look into that, I think that he knows of Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio, and he knows of Hydro Man, and he knows of the Chameleon. That way, if he already knows who all these villains are, he can really be the bridge between Shocker and Vulture, and Mysterio, Hydro Man, and the Chameleon to really bring them together to team them up against Spider-Man after probably within Far From Home when they fail against Spider-Man, because obviously they will fail against Spider-Man in that movie and Spider-Man will probably win. That's when they can really put together the Sinister Six to take out Spider-Man. But really my thoughts on this entire theory, and say all of these villains are going to be the Sinister Six. This is going to be that team. I gotta say I'm a little disappointed with the roster if this really is going to pan out, because I personally wouldn't want to see characters like the Chameleon or Hydro Man on the roster of the Sinister Six at all. I wouldn't mind Shocker, Scorpion, Mysterio, or the Vulture on there. I think they all deserve to be on that team, but I really don't want to see Hydro Man or Chameleon, mainly because I want to see two other characters. I want to see Kraven the Hunter. We haven't gotten to see Kraven yet on screen, and I think he's a really underrated villain, where he could be an awesome villain in the future, but there is a little bit of a chance for him to show up in Spider-Man Far From Home as well, because the Chameleon's half-brother is Kraven the Hunter, so maybe they could have that connection right there, and instead of Chameleon being on the team, they could have Kraven the Hunter, and that would be really cool to see on screen in my opinion. And then also Dr. Octopus. We haven't seen Doc Ock on screen since Spider-Man 2 in 2004, that Sam Raimi trilogy with Tobey Maguire. I really want to see Doc Ock be redone and have a newer version of him on screen. They did do a phenomenal job with him in Spider-Man 2, but I want to see what the MCU has in store for Doc Ock. But Webheads, let me know down in the comments below, do you guys want to see the Sinister Six in Spider-Man Far From Home? If you guys want more on Spider-Man Far From Home and everything you guys need to know, definitely check out this playlist right here. I think you guys would really enjoy it. But Webheads, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Bye-bye.